What's up, everybody? Is Thursday, the 7th of January, 2021. And I was just going through some stuff, and I'm not going to really get into Q&A here unless you put something in the box, and at the end I can mention it. But this is for those of you that are subscribed to YouTube and a benefit for just staying engaged. I did this on the 22nd with GoldX, right? Those of you, there's a video that's public. I just changed the name to, I think it's Strong Buy for Gold Buy for 2021. But the situation is that I give heads up prior to going out, pounding the table with the rest of our free folks that are subscribed, and even more with other things. I have another newsletter as well. But this video is just to say that we got that one. Looks like that day was around 320. Today it's at 325. It went up to 350 quickly. 355. Now it's come back down to, and it broke out of the 50-day moving average with that run to 350. It's come back down and it's hitting off the 50-day moving average. I love buying stocks right here. So if you remember those details, or just want to look at that video right now again, because GoldX, it's GLDX on the Canadian exchange, and GLDXF on the US. So what happened was I didn't go out to anybody yet. So it's been 2 weeks and we saw a bit of a pop, but nothing's happened yet. So this is like a reminder and an opportunity for you to either add more. If you missed it last time, grab some here. I mean, this deal's a no-brainer. It's at 3.25 Canadian right now. I think you can safely buy it up to 340, 350 for the long term. But anything you can get under 335 to 340 today in the morning, between the lag, I don't know what that lag is going to be. It's not going to be long because I am releasing the video that I sent you, which has the summary about the people involved, the 7 million ounces and all that stuff. That is all going to the free list soon, going to Elite Investments. But in the meanwhile, because we had that, come back down in the late December timeframe. Yeah, end of December. So it wasn't like it was that long in terms of the actual open market days and things. But it was a 2-week, technical lag, and it's a good thing. And so basically, for those of you that are on YouTube and subscribe to me, I appreciate it, because I shot my first full, it's the shorter intro episode, but official episode for Real Vision. It's a channel called Phenom, and it's going to be awesome. And it's going to be on YouTube. So people are going to be enticed to come on the YouTube channel as well as sign up at the Gold Investment Letter. So that's why I prettied up YouTube. But from the amount of people that we have following in the Gold Investment Letter versus YouTube is very small. So I'm going to be putting effort into growing this group. I don't know how many followers there are, 500, 600, 700 or something. So, and a lot of people don't check. A lot of people don't have notifications on, which you could do. And so for those of you that are early movers on the YouTube, just want to, give you props, thank you, and give you some gifts from time to time. So the GLDX is one that I would absolutely focus on today, because that is going to have a lot of stuff this month, including, my push of rolling this out to everybody. And I have another one that's smaller, that's amazing, and it is likely going to be revealed to you guys. That one's a gem, and it's not so liquid as it's not as big of a well, it's not as big of a market cap as GoldX. But I think you focus on GoldX now. I'm going to send them that pick today. Worst case in the morning, but because I'm not done buying it. So, but focus on GoldX. It is such an amazing risk reward scenario in the junior gold mining sector. It is a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer. I think that the risk in this deal, the risk reward combo, because if you have something that you think is going to go up 50x, it's very risky. Like if you think something's going to go up 10 to 20x, there is a lot of inherent risk. So you have to weigh those two things, right? And in this case, I see like barely any risk from $3. It could go lower in a market flush or whatever, but it's so cheap. They have 7+ million ounces of gold there. That's going to increase when they do their additional studies. They've been drilling. Those results are pending. And the people involved are superstars. They don't fail. They just don't, So I made the analogy that I love what Eric Sprott has been doing. He's been saving companies and he's invested in hundreds of private placements. And he's a portfolio manager, investor by nature. But these guys, we were talking about Robert Friedland, the chairman, Paul Matisik, the CEO, guys like well-known names like Frank Giustra, who's a big shareholder. These guys don't get involved in a bunch of deals. They get involved in a number of them, like in terms of their outside investments that they're not doing anything with. But the ones that they go in big are the ones that are running. And they just make sure they're going to work. And they always do work out, even if it takes extra time or they run into a stumble. Speculative portfolio, it shouldn't be. There's a lot of other good stuff that we've been covering out there. But I would say it's really one of the strongest, if not the strongest buy I have right now, because a lot of everything in our model portfolio has already ripped this week from, for the new year. And before that, GoldX is like, I'm zeroing in on. One other thing I'm going to give you right now is, so I'm sure all of you or most of you that have been watching me since the summer have heard me with this drum beating mantra around Bitcoin. And I basically started, I remember a sit down in LA in August, and then again in September, and then I did more. And then recently I've really ramped it up. The issue I think is that you need to consider, you definitely heard enough. And I've been talking about Bitcoin for a while, over 2 years. Actually, it's been closer to, let's see. Yeah, it's 2 years since, is it? Anyway, over 2 years since the bottom hit in late 2018. Okay. I called that. I kept, talking whenever there was a pullback, whenever there was about to be a breakout. Now, many of those intermittent calls and the additional content and additional encouragement to get involved and the additional color on why I liked it, that went out to premium and elite members. They get a lot more content. Okay. So what that did essentially, I know how this is. We listen to a bunch of people, it's not like I've not been wrong. It's part of our game, and people can focus on that and think, well, he's wrong. He's wrong this time. And, you don't know how much weight to put into different things. But I will tell you that I was very clear, and never as convicted as I was between Bitcoin 10,000 and like 15 with everybody, particularly in the premium and the elite. And before that, but the conviction and that came through and the clarity, I got a lot of people off the fence and a lot of the people that were just dicking around, dabbling. They increased their position, and cumulatively, that is now multi-millions of dollars of extra profit just from doing that. But it's very frustrating for me in the sense that I went into my bank today to wire money for a new place I'm closing on today. And he talked about, well, you must be elated with Bitcoin, because I had started buying it. We were talking about Coinbase, which is all in my account, money going out. He's the branch manager, and basically, I know him. He's become a friend, and basically he said, I saw the Coinbase, how's business with the gold investment letter? I'm like, things have just been exploding. Okay, exploding since June, May, and the Bitcoin company's like, you must be just over the moon, with this. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm not. I'm not. With Bitcoin at 40,000. A couple things are different about this. One is there was no doubt in my mind it was going here, and it's going so much higher. People just don't know. But the part of it that keeps me sort of down a little bit is I just know so many of my people, we don't know what we don't know. And this particular asset class is many of my people just, we don't know what we don't know. And this particular asset class is really moving without on this one with something that's not crazy, but bigger than you're thinking, because everybody wanted to tiptoe into it. So nobody has enough. That includes, elite and premium members, but there are a good number of elite and premium members that really did get more involved with the additional videos and content that I put out over the last few months. But also, even the free members, I'm sure, I can't wait to hear testimonials about how much people make eventually. But that's one thing for you to consider, is that if you have been on the free list, I just put that thing out about the pricing. It's still so underpriced. It's a joke. I mean, I have premium members and certainly elite that I've made millions and millions of dollars. And I'm, even the folks that don't have a lot of capital to work with, shouldn't say I made them the money. But I did, those are the ones that rely on me for a lot of the picks, certainly in this space, and, have trust. And so you're just missing out if you're not a premium member. You don't get, like I told you before, it's like I pretty was dead, 120. I mentioned to everybody, have cash ready. If you haven't done it, you have to open the account. You have to have the fiat transfer over, because once it breaks, you're going to have hours to maybe a day or two to be able to buy it under 22.5, and it's going right into the 30s, which has happened. So, just think about some of these things that like in our model portfolio, you look at all the profits. The only way people aren't like making huge amounts of money, and even back in the bad, the rougher markets. I do everything I can to make sure that people that bet on me are at least not going to lose in a risky area, but they're definitely going to have a lot of winners. I'm going to be very particular. I'm very particular on timing and all that. And anyways, so, you may want to consider that. I'm going to put these updates out to the free list with GoldX, with Bitcoin and all that stuff, with gold miners, and the window's closing there too. So, very soon. In terms of buying any of these little cheap, gold and silver mining companies, some of the producers down, and it is very time sensitive. And, that's what we get into this lethargy of, I talk about it a lot, which is recency bias, where we always, if time goes by, it's even worse, but it doesn't even matter if a lot of time goes by. Maybe it's subconsciously, we assume that what we just had occur environment-wise and everything else will continue into today and the future. It's like a lulling to sleep that, we just are used to something. And especially like forehead with me a bit ago. That's one. to get out. But that is a big problem. It's the, because a lot of people don't have the conviction that I do. I've got a lot of experience in this too, guys. I mean, it's like, I know some of you are new, but I cater to this to everybody in terms of like, it's taken me a lot of, like I said, trips to the woodshed to get where I am today. I'm not perfect. I'm certainly still learning every day. But it's good because all those things like the recency bias and the other things with regard to timing, contrarian thinking, buying when there's blood in the streets is like a nice saying. How many people did it in March? I was right in front of you. SLV calls and other things. Those are up 700%. They were up 600, 700% in 3 months, 2 months. Anyway, these things can make up for any costs times a million on one trade. And so the other thing is people get into this mindset of, and I'm not just talking about paying me on anything, it's like, it depends on the value, it depends on the value. If somebody's charging you 100 grand, but you're going to get 300 grand in return, would you take it? Or you can pay $900 and you get $9,000 back, or you get even worse. The analogy would be like you get 1,100 back. So what do you want? In any event, the one thing I'll tell you, one of the last major coins that I've been buying, which I've talked about before, and it's getting away from us, is Litecoin. If you have a crypto account and you're up and running, if you don't, like I said,